Hello and welcome to SMS Symptoms Management System. I'd first like to start out with just showing the technologies, the dependencies, the security, and the test data involved in this project. At the persistence layer, I've chosen MongoDB. I have this running from a command shell, and as you can see from this Cygwin shell, MongoDB is running locally, and you can see here the standard logging for the connections. On the server side, I'm using Eclipse with Gradle and various Spring library, Spring Boot, some of the security packages, as well as the MongoDB package, as well as the HTTP components and the retrofit for unit testing, as well as the embedded Tomcat web server, very similar to our last project in the cloud service class on the videos. On the mobile side, I'm using Android Studio, which uses Gradle for builds, along with the retrofit package and some common I/O for creating these HTTP connections to our cloud service or to our. So from the server side, the application configuration from my application class file here, you can see I'm enabling several different pieces of Spring, the auto configuration, the web MVC component scan. Here's the Mongo repositories, as well as the configuring the embedded Tomcat and enabling HTTPS. So that was one of the requirements for the symptoms management system, was to everything is all requests are ran over HTTPS, and I'm simply using the fictitious or the test key store that was provided in the video project from our cloud services class server. So that covers the technologies used as well as the dependencies at a high level. Now I'd like to briefly display my security setup and my test data. So within my security configuration, I've created a couple of different roles. They're mapped to different patterns. As far as the HTTP request, I've created a patient and a provider. In the U.S., the terminology provider is common for referring to someone in the health profession. I've created basically 10 patients and 10 providers, and labeled them simply patient 0 through patient 9 and provider 0 through provider 1, as well as giving them all a default password of pass. So like I mentioned, I'm using MongoDB, and has several different repositories listed here for different collections of data that we want to persist. So this is my sort of my build-up data or my initialization data. It's created on application startup, so that's why I have this application listener. As you can see here, creating several different kinds of medication. A couple mentioned in the requirements, as well as just a couple of others that I possibly heard, and then one here that's of course fictitious. Here I'm creating my patient data on a few of the patients, and giving. Here I'm creating patient data and giving them several medications. And as we move on, I'm creating the pain threshold question, as well as the EAT threshold question, and setting them to different severities. And so I flush these repositories, of course, like I said, on startup, and rebuild the data and persist it. So we have the medical questions as well, as far as when was the last time you took your meds, and then just different questions associated with the check-in. And here I have a special one too. The check-ins are created beyond the alert duration for a provider, so that I can demonstrate the notification. And then I did just some print lines to the console to display this data to make sure it gets started. And that completes the first section here of the SMS, going through technologies, dependencies, security, and test data. Now moving on to the patient functionality of SMS. I'll display the notification, check-in, setting the interval of the notification, as well as the help. For demonstration purposes, I'm using a Nexus 4 device within the emulator. As you can see, I have a notification. I've previously authenticated, and now I've got a notification. So please check in with SMS, and the pending intent here is to ask the user to authenticate. So here is the patient check-in screen. We have an action bar with a list fragment, and the actions include saving a check-in, setting your notification intervals, and a help. So we have our pain threshold question, as well as our EAT threshold question that bookend the med question. So, how bad is your mouth? Pain, sore throat. So you could say moderate. And once you've completed each of these questions in the check-in, it'll check it off. For the meds, it'll ask you, when was the last time you took your different med, and I'm simply using the date dialog, and then it also prompts with the time dialog. And then the last question, the EAT. And then you check in. Save the results, check-in complete, the screen clears out. For here, we have the prompt for, how often would you like to receive notifications. I've created the requirements, up to 4, and then for testing purposes for this screencast, I created one for 1 minute. Now moving on to the provider functionality, I'll demonstrate the notification for a provider alert when a patient is in need. The display for the monitor of the check-ins, the update of the medication, and the completion of a check-in. And then I'll go back to the patient and show that the med update will create a different list of questions from the patient perspective when they do their next check-in. So now on to the provider notifications. The provider has received a notification that they have patients who are in need. And as you can see down here in my console, retrofit one of my calls here to check the provider alert status as return a true. So we can pull down the notification. Please review your patients. You click the notification, it initializes the pending intent. And this is provider 0. We will authenticate and be given a list of patient check-ins that are associated with this provider. So the rows in this list fragment are color-coded based on the severity of their ailments. Red being high pain threshold, or they're having a high severity of pain, or unable to eat. In this project, I've associated the username as the unique identifier, so I've labeled it here as the medical identifier, their name, and date of birth. And this data is being pulled from the test data. In this situation, all of the patients are in need. If I needed to do an exact search, I could come up here, click the search, do a patient search based on the requirements. It is an exact search match, or exact match on the search. 3. Hit enter. It pulls back the associated check-ins. At the basic action bar navigation, hit refresh to pull back all the check-ins. Put the check-in, and I'm given a basic list of how the patient is doing, their check-in, kind of a read view of the check-in fragment. On this screen, we can complete the check-in, and this would remove it off of the provider's queue, and we can go back, or we can update their meds. So this one, check in, complete, clear it, brings us back. Some limited functionality here, so I hit refresh to get a new list. So let's say patient 2 or patient 3. This is update their meds. They're currently on Lortab, OxyContin, so I'm going to give them the magical drug No Pain. update their medication list, go back to their check-in, hit refresh. Patient 3, check their meds. They've been associated now with the additional medication. So that was patient 3. Check them out. Remove that patient from the queue. Now I will demonstrate that patient 3 has been given the additional med, and that the check-in will display question for the new medication. And as we can see, they now have the new magical drug, no pain. Had Amazon deliver it to me immediately, and I've taken it, or the patient has taken it, and the patient has no problems with pain now or with eating. Now we'll go back and check it on the provider side. Have now authenticated back with provider 0. We can see the new patient 3 check-in. The severity of their pain and their ability to eat was such that it's not marked in a red category. And we can see there's a timestamp now for the patient taking the no pain. Complete that check-in. Refresh. And that concludes the demonstration for the provider functionality.